have the advantage.
Should.
Also, Mill Rogue is definitely very favored against Ballot Lock.
Yeah.
If you get the Cold Light, obviously.
Okay, so I think they're in game now, so let's...
Okay.
So we have the warrior. What's Zalae playing? I just need a second.
Patron.
So
Zalae.
Patron Mirror.
Surprise,
Is this,
surprise.
yeah, oddly enough, is this still the same as it was pre-nerf? Is it still just who makes the patrons first? And
Yeah, it is, and it is more like the one who makes the patrons first have an even higher chance to win now, because there's not like the Emperor into Frolling OTK comeback as there was. That doesn't exist anymore. So it's basically just like Zalae has the GG hand.
The GG hand being full of
that is what you want. Like that is
stuff.
literally what you want. The only thing is better is to have that going first, because then you can play the patron first. Like you can't coin Despite into patron, obviously. So it's better to go first and have that combo. So
right.
But Zalae needs approximately 3 out of 3 combo pieces.
Yeah, he's got the Ghoul, which obviously isn't much. Obviously, the Armor Smith's gaining the life just isn't relevant if you're facing down 7 3/3s or something. And Saiyan just needs to pick up basically just filler. He needs things just to make sure he doesn't lose this, which should be really difficult. Maybe another proc, maybe another patron, just anything to give him the confidence to go for it. He'll go for it. That will probably be it. As Zalae picks up a War Axe, which he'll deal with one of them.
Second Armor Smith. Acolyte's pretty good here. He gets like guaranteed some draws, but of course we know Zalae has the Fire War Axe in his hand.
Yeah, not a great deal else to do on 3 though, I guess. So.
Yeah, in this matchup you don't mind that. You don't need to like guarantee drops from Acolyte, you just throw them out there.
Yeah. And he already has like a really good...
Yeah, he has all he needs.
So, I mean, Acolyte's fine here.
And he also knows that if the War Axe does come out, that he can just do things next turn anyway, right? It's not like...
Yeah, he's just gonna Despite. Like, he even, like, if the War Axe comes out, he has a really good Despite. That sets up by Space Hunt. So unless Zalae is playing like Harrison, it's gonna be unfortunate.
So if you're Zalae here, do you sort of...
You think you War Axe because you don't have any setup for the Death Rattle of the Despite, so you can just War Axe Stretch Corsair.
Seems good.
Maybe he doesn't even want to use the Dread Corsair, I don't know. But I think you do War Axe over Despite. Maybe he just thinks he needs something. Like he needs to draw like a Acolyte or something next turn to have a chance, but he can't see that JustSaiyan's hand is so insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably will just War Axe Draco setup. No, he's actually going to go for the setup.
If you could see JustSaiyan saying this would be the correct play, because then he needs to get just like a patron and make 2 patrons.
Yeah. So he spent quite a long time on that turn. Did Saiyan mulligan much, or did he keep a lot of his cards?
Saiyan kept everything. I actually don't know. But
so if Saiyan kept everything, he will. Zalae will know that Saiyan's got a lot of stuff in his hand. So maybe he factored that into going for this like.
Oh yeah. If the patron player keeps Saiyan's entire hand, you know what's up. You know what's up. Like
for sure,
100% there's going to be patrons.
So that
and you hard mulligan for that combo in this matchup.
I believe Saiyan kept 3 out of 4, so pretty sure Zalae knows this up.
Zalae working that out and going for a.
Then it's almost
wouldn't normally go for.
This is going to happen.
I don't know what Zalae can do here. This is pretty devastating.
Can slam.
Yeah, because even though he's worked out the patrons there, he doesn't know the extent that this was going to be nasty. He just had to play for his own patron there, I think. That was a good play to work
double ghoul attack face concede.
I like that.
Like he can. The issue is that he can kill everything except 1, but that's not good enough because he has to hit into the 3/3. Like maybe he just like slams the 3/2 and passes. I mean, what else can he do?
You can't even replace your weapon right here because it still procs the Death Rattle.
Yeah.
Oh man, it feels bad.
put down the taunt and maybe try to get Lucky Boon next turn.
This is honestly probably the best play he could do right now, which is nothing.
Because he has got a turn.
Yeah. Does he run Brawl? Usually patrons don't run Brawl, I know. But
if he does, this is... like, if you're on Sprawl, you could even consider slamming the 3-3.
Brawling, why not?
Yeah, just getting everything out there, making sure he's got next turn lethal.
He needs to run Brawl.
Yeah.
Revenge, maybe? Or is that only proc on 12?
Yeah,
12.
but he can get himself to 12, so that's good enough. Like, he could attack into a 3-3 and then revenge kill inside.
But that was only
actually
really in
pretty
the old
insane,
meta anyway, wasn't it?
It's like game. Unless like these boombots can be godlike, but even then,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think Godlike is gonna cut it.
Godlike, not enough.
I guess you could just triple taunt. It saves him from getting lethal.
Okay.
I don't even know if that saves him though, because the Frothling's gonna hit. The Frothling's gonna hit.
How does that say?
There's no way it saves him. Yeah, he's
It's
dead.
free procs on Frothing. Come on.
Oh man.
Flashback time.
He's just gonna say it. Maybe Sign is gonna fuck it up.
I think he just wants to see it happen.
It was just like an honorable Sudoku made.
I like that. Yeah, Zalae's a pretty honorable guy. Really fun to watch.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the guys who actually loves playing this game still.
Wow, actually loves playing the game.
No, I mean, a lot of the pros do love playing the game, but you do hear one or two saying, you know, because of the amount of time you have to put in and stuff, they find that it can be hard work, but, you know, I think, yeah, that wasn't a dig at most people, just a dig at the occasional person who maybe, you know.
It's also one of the more psychological stressful games to play. I've seen, like, streamers who were really happy and joyful playing the other game, whatever that was. Then they start playing Hearthstone and they're just like, those nice characters, they just start whining all the time.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's universal as well.
I'm definitely guilty in that aspect as well sometimes, you know. The salt is there.
Yeah.
From time to time. Can't help it.
Yeah, it's universal. Every single person does it way too much.
Looks like an oil rogue. I want to see this. Never seen him play rogue. Yeah, oil rogue is favored against patron. Maybe like 60-40.
So what's the basic plan? How does he avoid... how do you win before you give your opponent too many patrons?
Well, I think if you know he's playing patron, you keep flurry all the time, and other than that, you keep a good curve, just like you did here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a really good hand by Zalae. Backstab SI kills the grill. Armorsmith. Oh, it's good.
Courtesy of show.
Although the fans are very useless in this matchup now.
Yeah, so I assume you want to fan as soon as possible here, just to get rid of them. Otherwise, you're going to sit in your hand the whole game.
Yeah, probably see it turn 3, but not against an acolyte.
No, sure. Like you want to set up a situation, or want a situation to turn up where you can get to cast them.
I think you play Frothing or Acolyte here, and then it's gonna get backstab aside, unfortunately for Cyan.
Yeah.
Ooh, Lothar, that's a huge pickup as well.
He's got a good curve. It's just these fans he has to get out the way and cycle, pretty much.
But like they might even help him something with like a surge rate prep fan and then help
True.
him clear like a Belcher or whatever he plays.
That's by.
This bite is so huge to the patron, like without weapons, again, if you don't draw your weapons against Rogue as patron, you just lose the game in the spot.
That spot usually always 2-for-1's rogues, and it's pain. Gotta deal with it. Get rid of a fan? Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, there's not really a point playing a minion that just dies into the Death Spite.
Also, now that he's drawn the SI, he can get the second proc of the Death Spite with the SI instead.
Yeah, nice.
Well, he's thinking like he's attacking that because he's probably just gonna attack again, Redagger, SI, or something like that.
Yeah, it's really good. Okay. Oh man, Drake Prep fan looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean you gotta go for it, right?
Yeah, it's gonna die, but
Even though it
you draw
dies.
2 cards. Yeah, it's definitely worth.
Yes, it's a way of getting your 2-for-1 back that's going to happen to you. Just get your 2 cards sorted first. And it's like a 3-for-1 in some ways because you get rid of the fan that's otherwise a dead card as well.
Yeah, you draw 2 cards at the same time removing the board. It's really good. There's the flurry. That's really, really important. Well, I mean, he doesn't have any patron in his hand yet, but if he did.
Like it's basically a 0 mana consecration and doesn't deal damage to face, right? If it's comboed with spell damage.
Yeah.
Because you only use 1 card on it because you draw from the fan. So just to put things into perspective.
Yeah.
But the fan is also a dead card. It makes it even better that you get to get rid of the dead cards. So.
One of my most favorite turns as playing Oil Rogue is Blood Mage Fan. So it's like you draw 3 cards and you do a Flame Strike. It's sick.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's like the same mana cost. Almost.
Could see like a teacher coin SI hit.
Yeah. Get rid of that.
Mind seeing that. Developing a board, getting a 1/1 as well. Like you before 1/1s were really bad against Patron, but now they can't charge, it's fine.
Yeah, now they're fine.
Yes, it's a massive subtle change. Like you actually want to still have things on the board now because they haven't got the time to mess around.
Exactly. Like a similar play before was like before the nerf was that you coin SI first and then you play the teacher just not to get the 1/1.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as the patron got changed, the War Song, all the Oil Rogues immediately started adding Violet Teachers back in. Because it's just so strong with Oil Rogue, but it's just so weak against the charging patron deck.
Yeah, that's true. They were like playing... Some were even not playing any Violet, right? They're just playing double Shredder and nothing else.
Yeah.
But Violet is so good in Oil Rogue. That it's such a shame if the card is not there.
It's crazy how nerfing 1 card completely changes everything. Like things like Haunted Creeper were being taken out of Zoo as well. Green Sheep took it out for a while because it was just pointless playing Haunted Creeper if they were going to patron you.
Yeah, that card could just lose you some games against Patron.
Yeah, it was just nuts. Like you had a vague chance if your Zoo was built to have a chance, but if you played things like Creepers, you just didn't.
Am I the only one who misses though with Patron? I think it was an awesome period.
I think
I miss it only because I didn't play it enough. Like I played it because out of like pride, just because
it just had just had such a high skill cap.
Yeah.
I think people don't miss the deck. They miss the fact that there aren't many decks. Although it's getting better again with the Malilocks and stuff coming back, but there aren't that many decks with a high skill cap. Is the complaint you hear? Not necessarily the patron's not there.
So I don't mind them like nerfing Warsong, but it's just like I just look at what is the alternative. That is like the Realm of Secret Pally, a fairly easy deck to pilot. Like it has made it so like a lot of weaker players could get like higher ranks if they could with more skill intensive decks. So I think it was like kind of bad for Hearthstone in the short term, but it might be better in the long run.
Yeah,
but it depends on like I don't know what like if Blizzard is gonna.
I like Zalae saving low up here. That's good.
It might be good if there's there's 4 decks with a ban formats in tournaments, but there's still a deck that more casual players can play that's powerful on ladder to give them the chance to sort of do well on ladder. But then they get to a tournament, it's like, oh, I can't play that deck. I have to play 3 high skill cap decks. It might work out for everybody that way.
Oh, getting clunky.
Yeah.
I think you just sprint.
Yeah, I think it's just
gotta get some stuff.
The hand is so bad. I mean, I need to get those daggers.
Yeah, oil.
Tinker.
Deadly. Fair. Okay.
Otherwise, am I right here that there's 2 times that you sprint? You sprint when you've got the tempo, you're ahead on board, and you get the chance to do it, and you sprint like now when you kind of need to. You don't just randomly sprint in a level game, right?
Yeah, or sprint when you're looking for lethal.
Sprint when you're looking for lethal.
That's a good low thing. Oh,
That
no.
is a pretty good look.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that's making the new patron kind of interesting. That the patrons in this match have been irrelevant. It's sort of mid-range tempo deck a lot of the time with a combo that can just be devastating in it, rather than just a deck that had a more and more focused combo as time went by. But it's still a perfectly viable deck. This is a perfectly viable.
Yeah, Patron is really, really good. Like,
Yeah, Patron, really good still.
even on ladder, it's okay. But in last year's standing, it's really good because you need like that aggro counter deck. I think Patron is one of the best aggro counters.
Yeah, for sure.
In the game.
And something you guys were saying earlier here, the frothing being protected and really hard to get to is suddenly a really big threat. Just sitting there behind the taunts, behind the Lotheb that stopped all the damage. And it's going to do a lot of damage next turn.
Oh, he's actually going to eviscerate. Oh.
Yeah,
So,
he knows what Patron is capable of doing with that thing. You could just
7
dive
mana
with it.
eviscerate. That's how high priority that thing is to kill.
Yep. And that's why it's still really, really good. I think that is just GG.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, Lothar was made to counter Rogue, so
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I've forgotten that was the original.
yeah.
Back in the
Rogue was
day.
a lot stronger back then.
Talking of nerfs, yeah.
Yeah.
So that leaves Zalae 2-0 down, and he's got his Druid against the Patron, which isn't the worst matchup to be stuck with at 2-0.
It's fairly even.
Yeah.
It's like mid-range.
Going back to what we were saying earlier, that sometimes at 2-0 you're just in real trouble. This isn't necessarily the worst. And another one choosing to play the Mounted Raptor. Indering. Everyone's playing Mounted Raptor.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I agree. Like it.
Just wait for it to take to Twitter and try and talk everybody out of it later.
It was one of the cards I hyped the most in the expansion. I think I was sure it was going to be good in Aggro Druid, but I was fairly sure it was definitely a good possibility in mid-range Druid as well.
Yeah. Still trying to get the feel of the card for most players.
So basically, it's stat-wise, the Death Rattle is the one cost minions is 3.03 compared to like Harvest Golem, that's 3.00 of course in stats.
Okay.
And on average, I think like 1/3 of the card has like a positive effect. 1/3 of the card has an effect, and there's only one that's negative. That's Zombie Chow. I mean, some are not that useful like Taunt, but you can get like 100 Creepers really good. For example, there's some really strong effects in just like Divine Shield.
Yeah. This is what I was talking about earlier when you asked about the Druid and Warrior matchup. Then it's just it just shuts it down immediately.
Yeah.
Your power turn 2.
It is interesting to me about the Raptor that Ryza and Crane last night as well. Everyone's not convinced yet. I like it when the pros disagree on stuff.
They will, trust me. Let's see. I
Yeah,
mean, Shade is still really good against some. And there's a lot of matchups where I rather want Shade.
Yeah, it's not that we don't think the card is good. I think the card is
definitely
has some potential, but there hasn't been too much experience with the card yet, right? So we need to see a little bit more.
Ready
It's
for action.
just
I'm ready.
good that they're developing cards that, like we were saying earlier about Boom, look, you play Boom on 7 because there's nothing else. Well, now you can play Raptor or Shade, and they're close enough in power level that there's a debate.
Yes, that is really, really good because it makes it so the more skillful deck the one who understands the meta will have a slight edge.
Because they'll switch in and out the 2 cards depending exactly, which is
Have a
awesome.
look at like the deck track and see, those will match up over the last 200 games. I think this is slightly better in this meta. And knowledge will actually gain an edge.
And it allows you to have a style as well. It allows you to prefer a slightly more passive style or a slightly more aggressive style. It means you don't have to just play the deck as it comes. You can put your own twist in it to play to how your own strengths and weaknesses as well. as well as the meta strengths and weaknesses, which I think is really good. I think Blizzards are learning a lot as they go. We give them a hard time a lot of the time for various things, but actually I think they're learning fast.
We don't give them enough hard time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, let's give them more of a hard time. They're only putting up 1 million. How dare they?
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. They cater to our needs from time to time. So
another thing about Shade is that it is really, really hard to play Shade correctly. I see a lot of people misplay with Shades. So if you don't understand when to use it correctly, maybe like the Raptor is just a better option. Because it's easier,
yeah. That's in mind, actually, next time I'm playing Druid.
Alright, well, what does Druid do in this position? It's
not fun. Like, this is the standard way for patrons to win against Druid, just getting early patrons. Because of the lack of board clear in Druid, it's so hard for them to deal with this.
Yeah, this is the bit that hasn't changed at all from 6 months ago. This is still... If you can get 4 patrons against a Druid, the Druid either has to use too many resources or just can't deal with it.
Yeah, like they have to waste a combo, for example, and that's huge. It's huge.
Yeah. And JustSaiyan's got quite a decent follow-up as well with the Slam and the Lothar if he needs it. It's not amazing, but it's plenty.
Yeah.
He can take care of everything except the 3-2. Like, he can charge Druid of the Claw, innovate hero power. And that thing will be a 3-3. Then there will be like a 2-1 and 3-2. That's one option. I'm sure there's a lot of different options as well. But that one kind of stabilizes. He's gonna go for the Shredder and...
Yeah, this is yeah.
That's another
Slight.
option.
So it makes 1 more extra. That's not bad.
Yeah, that works well with the Mana Addict and stuff. It's pretty nice.
This turned out better because...
Oh, no way.
Not a 3 attack.
Well, I think you were actually pretty close. Because you had the risk of getting something like that. And this was, like, this gave a 3-3 instead of a 3-2, which could really be devastating if you had, like, more whirlwind
effectively
effects.
clear here, though. If you put the Claw, as one example, into the 3-3, you do take a bit of damage, but then you do get to play Boom the next turn for instance. He's got quite a few choices here, right? You can...
I don't think you play. I think you got to draw.
You think you got to draw from Law? Just see.
Oh, it just makes more patrons. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I think you just charge.
Or actually, charging is fine. Charging is actually better here because then you clear the patrons out, then get ready for Boom next turn. Yeah.
Lord just does nothing against that board. And you can't Boom because there's a patron that's 3-3.
Yeah.
So that was the only option, really.
This is the other side of how it used to work, is that Druid did get to a point where quite often it could just run the patron out of stuff. But the thing is now, that's odd, is that patron is actually doesn't run out of stuff like it used to, because it's not all in on the combo like it was. It now has this mid-range element to it as well. So, whereas before, if you dealt with the 2 Frothings and the 2 patrons, you'd kind of won. Now they just stick other stuff in you, like Grom or Boom or Coconut Elite, apparently.
That's true. Those Kirkholm Elites are so good.
Yeah, you gotta heal here, man.
Just 8 damage to face and like a board that Druid can't deal with. That's so insane.
Yeah, I guess if you're ahead, Korkrons are in a sense better than Shredders.
Yeah. But I don't know if there's enough minions for them to trade with. Like Leag is good. Korkron is good against Leag.
It's a sweep.
3-0 sweep there, and pretty convincing patron play. In fairness, Zalae didn't get much of a hand in any of the 3